Bill,
Do a
gentlemen,
little
we
Facebook
are
plug.
live.
Hey, good evening, everybody. This is Big Bill coming to you live from YouTube Model Builders live show. It's April 15th, 2017. It's tax day, and tax day has been extended, I believe, to the 17th or the 18th because of the holiday. But anyway, it's tax day. And just wanted to welcome everybody to the show tonight. We have a good show. I think we always have a good show, but I think we have an especially good show tonight because tonight we have two N-Scale modelers on board with us. One guy you already know, Bob from the Bob's Man Cave, and Joe Desmond from Central New Jersey.
Central Jersey.
Central
Conrail.
Jersey Conrail in N-Scale. I got it on paper. I wrote it down.
That's it.
And Joe's new. I saw Joe recently I saw Joe's couple of videos, and his enthusiasm right over the screen caught me. So Joe, and then Joe came up and visited, had a little visit. I put a video out on it, and stuff like that. And the guy's just just a good guy, Joe, and Bob's a good guy too. Both good guys. I got to meet Joe in person, so it's extra special to have that. Bob's been around for how long now? Since
2014.
Weren't you a waiter at the Last Supper?
Yes. actually, I was there last night. Actually,
you were at a okay.
Oh, we were at a live one. Yeah.
But you've been doing N-Scale for a while now. How I got noticed. Bob's N-Scale layout is a little unique. His excuse me, I have a little bit of an allergy, so I might be coughing a lot. But his runs around the ceiling. Is that correct?
That is correct. My main line is up near about 7.5 inches off the ceiling.
Now, is that throughout the whole house, Bob?
Not yet. It's in 3 rooms right now.
3 rooms.
3 bedrooms. Yep.
Negotiations are underway.
So
yes,
this is who we'll be having on the show, Joe Desmond and Bob. But before we get started, I want to do the giveaways and just give out a special announcement as to what we're doing, so we can get business out of the way, and then you can get right into the what are we doing? Right into the show.
So we got the first giveaway up, Bob, for Long Shadow Model Trees.
Oh, Bob Lacey and his model trees. These are Long Shadow model trees that are given by Bob Lacey. Let's see something. Hold on, just give me 1 second here while I get up to speed. Don't you hate live television? Live. This is what they do. This is what happens. This is what happens. Anyway, we have Bob Lacey and Bob Lacey's Long Shadow Trees. He's giving away a set of 4. I'm correct? Am I correct? Set of 4. 4 trees that he'll be giving away. And this will be Bob's last show with us as a giveaway.
Not my last show.
No.
On our show, this will be the last show for him. Bob will no longer be. Bob's not going out of business or anything. Bob's not going out of business. Just so you know, Bob is just taking a little break because that's what Bob wants to do. And Bob's been a long member of. He's been with us from the very, very beginning. Long Shadow Model Trees. He's been with us since the conception. Model Man Mike reached out to him, and Bob has been nothing but aces up, stand-up guy with his trees. He's been very, very, very helpful for us and getting us off the ground. And I just want to give him a special shout out for all his hard work and for all his enthusiasm and all his in helping us give away to get people involved. So he's giving away a 4-pack of HO or N-Scale oak and pine trees tonight. And who else do we have up there?
All right. Next one we have is Dave's Decals, Bill.
Dave's Decals. He's giving away 2 sheets of Dave's Decals. If you win this, you can pick any any sheets from his inventory of decals. It's Dave Decals, model decals and stuff. He also does custom work. Your choice of 2 sheets, and you can visit him online at www.daveart.net.
Headphones on.
And he's got a pretty good deal. He's got some pretty good deals out there.
Next, we have Weathering Solutions.
And Weathering Solutions, this is by Eric and his friends down there in St. Louis. We had Eric on last month along with Dave. These are weathering decals. You can get these rusted decals, graffiti decals. As you can see on them, they do pretty good. I've actually used some of the graffiti as well as some of the rust, and they've done pretty good. They look pretty good, pretty decent. If you're lazy like me, this is what you want to do. So Weathering Solutions, he'll give away, I believe, a sheet or 2 sheets of this. He'll be in contact with you to let you know. But it's not a bad giveaway. Very good giveaway.
And next, Bill, we have Central Valley.
Who?
The Central Valley.
I'm sorry. Oh, this is the be all to the end all. This is the punch plate bridge kit from Central Valley Model Works. It's a 150-foot scale punch plate bridge, and this is the grand prize of all grand prizes. Everybody wants this bridge. You can look at them at Central Valley Model Works at www.cvmw.com. Our good friend Jeff and Heather. Check these guys out. Check out their website. They have some other great models and buildings there that I think would be most interesting to most of our modelers out there. And this is the 150-foot punch plate bridge kit that they'll be giving away as well.
And our final is the Railroad Model Craftsman one, Bill.
And the Railroad Model Craftsman or White River Productions has been so kind and generous. They've given us a 3-month free subscription to anybody who wins this one. You'll get it. If you do win this, you just need to send me your complete address if you do win, so I can send the coupon out to them, and then you'll get a free 3-month subscription to Railroad Model Craftsman. And that's the last one. Am I correct?
Yes, sir. And
don't forget our other sponsors. Our other sponsors are, they're not giving away anything tonight, is Highways and Byways, John Howard, and always good stuff from him on decals. And also Strike Force Hobby. Strike Force Hobby is our, pretty big distributor of giveaways for us, and always with a good giveaway. Also, just to do some business, YouTube Model Builders also has a plethora of other shows, such as the Tuesday night hangouts, the Wednesday night with the Adreno thing with Chris Healy, and Thursday night general hangout with John and company. This Tuesday night, we're going to have a special show with a special guest, and I'm going to save that for Tuesday, but do tune in. It's going to be, I believe, this always gets me screwed up on the time, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern time. If I'm wrong, John, type it into the
I think that's right, Bill.
Yeah, I hope so. Anyway, and don't forget our e-magazine, free online magazine. Go to www.youtubemodelbuilders.com. Sign up for that free e-magazine. You'll thoroughly enjoy it. JD and his boys over there, and his young lady over there that he has now. He has a new young woman on the team now, and these guys do a fantastic job. If you have an idea for a story or you want to write a story, go right ahead. They'd be more than willing to accept it and see where they can fit it into future magazines, if not the upcoming magazine. So with that said, the business is done. Let us move on to bigger and better things, bigger and more important things like model railroading and N-Scale.
Yeah, it's slightly smaller than big stuff.
Big, yeah, this is what I know. HO, I asked Joe when he was over what HO stand for, and he said half of O. And I said, no, usually, what is it? Usually overstated.
Oversized. Usually oversized.
Right.
Yeah.
So, with that said, Joe, let me start with you.
Okay.
How long have you been into N-Scale modeling?
Oof.
How did you get into it?
I started probably when I was about 8. My father started us out with a 4x8 sheet. It was originally an HO. But my grandfather, who was the driving force in the model railroading, he was an N-Scale, and he had a 4x8 layout as well. So he eventually passed that on to me when I was about 8. And so I've been an N-Scale ever since.
You have to tell, how come we went dead?
Well, we're not dead.
I can't hear him.
Oh, you
Can you hear? Can you hear me, Barry?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear him, Bill. Can you hear me?
Okay. I can hear you, Joe. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay, good. For some reason I don't know why.
Yeah. Well, the channel's working. I see us on there.
Okay. So, Joe, Joe, I want you to tell that story you told me about when you were a kid and you went to the.
So when I was about 5, that's about the first memory I had dealing with trains was we went to visit my grandfather's sister, Henrietta. She lived in Mulberry, Illinois. And I remember when we got to the house, it was a little farmhouse. You had to go up this driveway, and the driveway looked like it was going up into heaven. And when you got to the top of the driveway, you had to stop right there, and because there was a railroad track. So we went across the railroad track to the little farmhouse, about 25 feet past the tracks, and we got settled for the night. So after my mom put myself and my brother to bed, I swear it was like that Lucille Ball episode where the whole house started to shake. So I got out of my bed and I came in and I said, "What's that?" And Henrietta said that it's the train going by. And she opened the door and all I could see was this freight train that was doing like 50 miles an hour, just rocketing by this little farmhouse. And that was it. I was hooked. That was me and trains. From there on out.
That'll hook you.
Absolutely. So when did you start on this layout that you're doing now?
I started in around 2014. My wife and I moved into this house in 2012 together. And when we were shopping for the houses, I was always right to the basement looking for what I needed in the basement. I wanted all the HVAC equipment on the one side, and I wanted a big open plan so that I could, develop my plan. So then I started construction and finishing off the basement, which turned into a 2-year debacle. That just took forever because my wife says, "Well, if you're going to build a train room, you have to finish the whole basement." So, and it just took forever. So I did all the work myself. Towards the end, I had to subcontract out some of the finishing work. But and I got started on the layout room around 2014. And what I wanted to do this was my first large scale layout, and I didn't want to get too much into it and be one of those guys that just becomes a footnote in model railroading history as, "Oh, he never finished." So I didn't want to do too much and bite off more than I could chew. So I just went with an 11 by 14 room. And then when I was designing the track plan, you always have the tendency to say, "Oh, well, let's do double deck," or let's do a mushroom, or let's do something that, and then next thing you know, it's just overwhelming. So I just kept it as simple as possible for my first room size layout.
Everybody listening to this?
He's right.
Outside of the community, is everybody listening to this? Isn't this what Mr. Baronic, the track planner, and Bob also says?
Every time.
So, I have had a lot of experience. I've done like 3 4x8 layouts on my own. I've done a plethora of N-Track modules. I was in N-Track from 2004 till about 2012. So, I've been, working up to this and got the basement, the time, and we're rolling.
Good. And now, Bob, you seem to be taking under. I just recently saw the recent video was with the Helix.
Oh yeah, the Helix.
And I like this I have to call it aggressive. because I think it's aggressive, and I also think it's very. It's aggressive, bro.
It's just aggressive.
Why don't you tell us what? For those that did not see Bob's channel or his video recently, tell us about this.
Well, the Helix. It started off as, well, Troy Pendemus's Helix that he had on his layout. And he was an N-Scaler, and he lives up in northern Minnesota, and he's been in the Hangouts a lot, and he just said, I'm done with N-Scale. I need to sell my stuff. I'm like, a Helix. And this little bell went off in my head going, what could I do with a Helix? Because I always wanted to bring my layout that was all the way up there already kind of down to a lower level so I could play with a yard or something like that, and kind of expand at some point. And I was toying with the idea of either a Helix or an elevator, or just a really long graded thing all the way around the room or something. But he says, the Helix will take up less space, which is kind of hard to believe. But and so he said he's selling it, and he's selling a roundhouse and turntable, 18 bays. I'm like, I gotta go get it. It was just kind of like, I want it. He says, okay, how much for it? He gives me a price. I'm like, okay, I'll see you in 2 weeks. And so trekked on up there and picked up his Helix and the roundhouse and everything and brought it back. That was in September, I think 2015. And so it sat in the garage downstairs for about 3-4 months. It's like, I got to do something with this. I can't just let it sit there. And it's during this whole time I've been kind of planning, where would I put it? I was like, well, I was going to put it right over here on top of my monitor and everything else. I'm like, that would have messed things up. So, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to have to redo this room, because I had a whole bookshelf over on this wall over here. I had my current layout up on top there. That all had to come down because I wanted to do it right. If you look at some of my earlier videos, I just made out a 1/4-inch plywood and kind of just made it tacked up there. It didn't look professional. So I was like, if I want to put a Helix in, I'm going to do everything else and make it better. At least for me anyway. I'd be happy looking at it. And so that got me on that road. And the Helix ended up going not above my computer, but off in this corner over here. And I just started making a big old floating shelf layout over the top of my computer and all the way over to the Helix into the closet over here. And, it was like, it's only, 12 turns. That's not high enough. I need 15. So I added 3 more turns to this Helix and put all the bracing up and everything else. So I got a few videos on that and how I put that all up. I mean, I hooked the one end of the Helix up to a couple door hinges, mounted it to the wall so I could lift the whole thing up and put the legs on it. So basically it's hanging by door hinges and a couple legs. That's all it is.
But what is your you want to do the scenic?
Yeah. So the scenic part is like, I looked at the Helix and I was like, well, I need to cover that up. Kind of make it look like it's a real mountain. And so I'm taking some plywood. I've got foam glued to it. I'm going to get some shaper sheet and make some castings of rock, put that all in there, kind of basically making like a zigzag road all the way up to the top. And in the middle it has a door, so I can swing the door open and take a look at the Helix and see where the train is if I want to look. But on that door will be a waterfall. Wow. So it is aggressive.
And the waterfall, how from bottom to top or top to bottom, how How long is that fall?
That's going to be about 32 inches, which is about a 440-foot drop in real scale.
Ooh.
So,
That's,
and it's
that's
going
a nice
to
waterfall.
it's going to have probably a bridge going across first level, and then simulated tunnels going behind the waterfall to get up the road. But it'll be something definitely to look at.
It might even become the ninth wonder of the world.
I hope so.
Probably gonna have to sell tickets to come in and see this.
Well, eventually, maybe we'll have tours or something. At some point. But I'll probably wait until I have the rest of phase 3 completed, which is the rest of the house. 2 living rooms. It's another 300 feet of track. So it's going to be a lot of bridges.
How did you come up with the concept of doing it on the ceiling? I mean, was it space, time thing?
It was basically convenience, and I wanted something big, but I didn't have the room for it. And so the wife, she loves the idea that I've got trains. She loves my trains. Doesn't like that I spend a lot of time on my trains. But she said, you've always talked about having a round-the-room train set or something. Put a shelf and have this train go all the way around the room and deliver sandwiches and stuff like that. But can't really do that with N-Scale. But she goes, well, I said, well, how would I get it to the other room? I just had to ask, how would I get it to the other room? She goes, well, you could go through the wall into the closet. I was like, yeah, I could probably do that. Is there a better way, though? I'm not sure I want to cut a hole through there and there and there. She goes, well, you could just go through the ceiling in the hallway. I'm like, yeah, that was my idea, too, but I wasn't going to say it. And so that's really the trick. You get the wife to come up with the idea, then it's her railroad, not mine.
Yeah, I guess.
So I just got approval, and I said, I think I could do that. And so I've only really cut 2 tunnels through the wall in the whole house so far. So I'll have 2 more to go.
Now, is it something like, if I've never been to your house, but say I stopped by and it was just paying about, I was in the neighborhood. Is it something that I would immediately see when I walk into your house? Would it be something that would catch my eye and I would say, oh, well, like, what is that? Or is it?
Not yet. If you walked in the front door, you would see nothing. It would just be living room and everything. But if you went down the hallway, you'd still see nothing until you walked into the bedrooms. You walked in the bedroom, like, whoa. What is that? You walk in the main bedroom. I got a great big popsicle bridge. It's 4 feet long, hanging across in front of the window, and then track all the way around. Like, where's it go? Well, it goes over here to this room. There's a trestle over there with a waterfall, and there's a tree over there with a tunnel through it. There's comes all the way back through another mountain back into the man cave, and then, well, everything that's in here. Helix and yard and turntable, all that. So it's I did a lot of planning. Let's just say.
Absolutely can see. I absolutely can see this.
Yeah.
And Joe, your layout is 11 by 14, correct?
Yes.
And you have 2 helixes with.
Yes, I do. So the layout premise. All right, I'll explain to you this way. The layout premise is that I took the Conrail lines, the secondary lines in Central Jersey, and I combined them together into a layout. It's kind of like a freelance prototype issue. So, well, I wanted to stick with, I think it was Tony Custer's thing about, the train only going through the scene once. So I needed to have some way to get stage trains going northbound out of Camden up onto the layout. So I had to make a hidden return loop underneath. And because of my where I put my staging yard was in a closet that's under the stairs, that staging yard had to be down at like 40 inches, and I want my layout height at 50. So I had to have one helix at the one end to get up 10 inches, and then through that loop I kind of did about I think I did like 3 or 4 inches of climb just to cut back on the second helix. So the second helix is a little smaller; it's only 5 turns, where the one I'm building now, the big one, I think it's going to be about 7. So.
And yours is based on the Conrail system itself. And do you have an era that you picked out? 70?
Yeah. In 1988 is the year that I'm sticking with, and that's because there was a big plant down in Tom's River called Ciba-Geigy. If anybody ever remembers it, there's also a good book out. Dan Fagan wrote this book called Tom's River, and it tells all about Ciba-Geigy, and that was a driving traffic factor in South Jersey was the Ciba-Geigy plant. So, but they shut down in 1988 their primary lines, and the plant stayed around for some time until they totally closed it. So I'm using 88 as the year to model because that's the last real good year for Ciba-Geigy.
And this is going to be an operational as well as continuous running.
Yes, see that's the catch with the return loop. You know, when I'm not having op sessions or nobody's looking, I can run some stack trains, I can run some multi-levels and stuff like that and get out of error, and that just to satisfy me. You know, days when I come home from work, you know, I don't have time to, you know, draw up some Form Ds and get some dispatch sheets ready to go run a couple trains. You know, I could just let one go and just let it run.
Right.
But then when I do op sessions, we'll be able to do full operations sessions. You know, probably I think right now my schedule is looking about like 8 or 9 trains in a 4-hour session. So maybe a few more here and there.
Yeah, it was very enlightening when you came up and we were talking about operations, and you were asking about the Boulder Creek weight thing, and you were telling me how to do that, and I immediately started putting some things together in that. So, you know, operations, as much as I'm learning about it and trying to implement it on my South Brooklyn layout, I find it very intriguing and very interesting.
Yeah, you know, and there's tons of books out there. Tony Custer, Andy Sperano, you know, he's the guru of operations. He wrote tons of books, and you know, but getting the biggest problem I had with taking reading to actual practice was the car cards. I mean, you get these car cards from Micromart; they're beautiful cards, but they got no instructions. It's like, okay, what do I do now?
Right.
So I had to stumble around the internet and reading OPSEC from the NMRA documents and talking with people, and that's why I did that one video. I just said, you know, enough's enough. You know, let's make it easy for people. You know, people want to do serious operations, but they don't know how to fill out the cards, so they really can't. You know, so that's why I did that video, and it was a lot of people commented they liked it. So
right, and a very very informative video. And Bob, do you model a certain era or railroad type name?
Well, I decided I was going to model the places I've lived the most or liked the most, and that was Minnesota, Alaska, and Nebraska. And that's the first letter of each one of those, M-A-N-N, made the Man Railroad.
Okay.
And thus the Mancavians came up with that. You know,
well, just so that everybody knows, anybody who subscribed to Bob's channel automatically is it enrolled as a Mancavian?
Yeah. I address everybody who watches my video as a Mancavian, and if they subscribe, they definitely are a Mancavian. Barry's one of them. You know, Bill's probably another one.
I am.
You know, everybody's one.
So everybody here is a Mancavian.
Yep. If you have some sort of cave that you've got your trains in, you don't like to just stay there all the time. You know, you're pretty much a Mancavian, I guess. You know.
Yeah, I like that. I absolutely like that.
We need to bring back that I'm a Mancavian videos, though, man. Not that many people made them.
I am Mancavian.
I think I want to redo mine I have a giant G-scale RDC downstairs. I want to try and hold that puppy in one hand and do that without dropping on my feet.
Oh yeah. I just came up with that one day at work. I was just bored, brainstorming, going, "What am I gonna? I'm gonna say something in my videos that kind of is a kind of catchphrase or something like that." And so, well, this sounds good.
I love it. I think it's
like superheroes or something. I don't know.
So, do you have a particular area that you model it? I mean,
well, anything that runs in Minnesota, Alaska, or Nebraska is on the railroad, or has run in the in those states. Anything that famous went through here. Like I've got Burlington Northern comes through here, BNSF comes through here. I got Union Pacific, of course, Alaska Railroad. I've got anything that's in a museum. Like the PRR one that's over in Strasburg, Pennsylvania. I got that one. I was like, oh, I saw that. That's going on the layout. I got the big boy that's sitting up there at the DD40AX. Here in Nebraska. I was like, well, I got to have those. And here's 844. I saw that. Okay, that's in here. Anything that came through those three states is fair game for me anyway. And I don't care what era. I mostly diesel, but I've got 3 or 4 steam, and I do have a cab Ford that I picked up because, well, I just liked them.
Yeah.
right.
So, and it's unlettered, so I could put whatever I want on it and make an imaginary cab Ford in Union Pacific if I wanted. But, so it's a more of a freelance, not really any particular thing. Like my roundhouse is basically a museum, so I'm making it as sort of a museum kind of a place that they do a little maintenance, and it's pretty much just like the Jackson Street Roundhouse in St. Paul, Minnesota that I visited, which I also did a video on. They kind of do that same kind of thing there. They have the museum, and then they have a shop over the side that rebuilds locomotives and passenger cars and stuff like that.
Oh, very good.
So,
Very nice. Very nice.
Got a little bit of everything. Anything that's neat, I'll put it on there.
That's so cool. I'm not. I have to be honest with you. When I started getting into model railroading, and this is my personal opinion, so you guys out there who are into N-Scale can bash me if you like. It's just these big, fat, clumsy hands of mine. Just couldn't. I mean, I have a hard time with HO with the screws and everything, but I tell you, and the thing is with N-Scale, obviously a lot more trackage. A lot more trackage.
Yes. That's one reason why I went to N-Scale, because I didn't have the room for an HO to be happy with it.
Right.
So N-Scale, I could get a 18, 19-inch radius corner, and that was more than adequate for big boys to go around.
Yeah.
So I was like, if a big boy can go on a 19, no problem, looks fine, it's good enough for me.
And to be quite honest, I mean, at any scale, anybody doing model railroading is really good, But hey, but then we got some very fine N-Scale models. You got Vinny, BSN. I don't know.
BNSF 9651.
Right, you got him, and you got Eric.
Or 6951, actually.
Yeah, 69. You got Vinny, and you got Eric Hall.
Eric Hall.
IMRO.com. He does. He's extensively working on his layout now and putting more and more.
I'm gonna give a shout out to one guy that I think he gets underrated. Is Tony Bone. This guy, I got hooked up with Tony very early on in my build. What it was, I wanted to intersperse the social media aspect with my model railroading. So I was messing around on Facebook years ago, probably like 2013, and I found his Facebook page, and he's a master modeler, MMR, and he built this layout at Corns. It's the Rock Island. Oh, phenomenal. Tony's layout is really good. That guy, I think he's very underrated.
Trust me, Joe, you're absolutely correct. There's a lot of guys out there who are underrated in this hobby. HON3, a lot N-Scale, just a lot of guys who just, that's why we do what we do here. Hopefully we can get them to come forward and do. But before we do that, we have to pay attention to the giveaways. So if we can do
time for the giveaway.
Not time to give them away, but just we have to always, do the mention.
Gotcha.
All righty. So we have Mr. Bob Lacey up now, Bill.
Yeah, we have Bob Lacey and the Long Shadow model trees. He's giving away a 4-pack of HO or N-Scale oak and pine trees, Long Shadow model trees. You can reach him at longshadowmodeltrees.com. I have to tell you, I have his trees on my layout. Excellent workmanship, excellent. And I know that most of you guys like to do your own trees, but I'm one of those guys that don't like to go buy the big bag of fluff and the glue and do the whole thing. Ready-made for the price he charges, absolutely worth it. No headaches, no fuss, no muss. They come in the bag, you drill the hole, you put the glue in, boom, you're done. That's it. I love it. Makes a great tree. If you have trees you want.
He actually sells his tree armatures that he uses too, so you can buy his naked trees and decorate them yourself too.
Look at this. We learned something new today. I'm glad I came on the show.
Absolutely.
Anyway,
so next up,
Bob will be giving Long Shadow model trees. He'll be giving away a 4-pack of HO or N-Scale oak or pine trees. Scale, oak, and pine trees. I got to read this right.
Next up, we have Dave's Decals.
Dave's Decals. Big Dave. Dave's out. Models, decals, and stuff. Your choice of 2 sheets. 2 sheets. If you win this, any 2 sheets. www.daveart.net. He also does faded decals. And the way Dave does this is he gives you the 2 sheets if you want it, but he also gives you a price thing like for $11.50 that you can spend. He'll tell you about it, but once you get the 2, you're going to go back and get more because he's got really good stuff. If you guys are into faded decals, he's got these. He was on last show and he did these newspapers that he sells, decal sheets that you put in the garbage. And look, I'm gonna get a couple of them for the junkyard I just did. So you get 2 sheets, your choice of 2 sheets from davesart.net. He also does custom work as well. And the next one is
next up we have Weathering Solutions.
Weathering Solutions, my good man Edward. How are you, Ed? Hope you're out there listening. Ed's doing these Weathering Solutions. He does these rusted decals. Very, very well done. I have a few on a couple of my rolling stock. He does the graffiti, oil spots for your oil tankers, rust for the box cars, and for anything else that you want to put it on. Absolutely good stuff. He'll give away 2 of these sheets, or I don't know. He'll get in touch with you, but I know it's 2 sheets or more. And if you don't get 2 sheets or more, please don't be saying Bill Graham said that you. That's always how Bill Graham said you were going to give us 15 sheets if I won. That's not how this works. But anyway, he's giving away these couple of sheets of these, and absolutely good stuff.
And up
Weathering
next
decals
is our punch plate bridge kit, Bill.
Oh, the punch plate bridge kit from Central Valley Model Works. It's a 150-foot scale punch plate bridge kit. Jeff and Heather have been with us is probably just right after Long Shadow Trees came aboard, and they are fantastic. And their stuff, their bridges. This is the be all to the end all prize. Be all to the end all prize. Everyone wants this.
Absolutely.
I wish we had a bunch of them we could just freely give out, but we can't. And if you win this, you'll get the punch plate bridge. It's a 150-foot HO scale punch plate bridge.
All right, and Bill, next is our railroad model craftsman.
Oh, and people at White River Productions have kindly donated a 3-month free subscription to Model Railroad Craftsman magazine. They've been doing this since 1933. I was going to say 1993, but it's actually 1933. This is a pretty good magazine. Railroad. It's a very good magazine, actually. And White River Productions is giving away a free 3-month subscription to Railroad Model Craftsman. So if you do win this, I'll need to get your full name, address, mailing address, and I have a coupon that they gave me, and I'll send it away. And I don't want to forget our other giveaway providers. That's Highways and Byways, John Howard, and the railroad decals that he gives, the railroad crossings. Check out his website, and also Strikeforce Hobbies. They've been with us. They were kind enough last month to give us a $50 gift certificate from BLI, Broadway Limited, and also DVD. They've been with us right since the summertime, and very good partners in the giveaway. Very supportive. So just want to give a shout out to those guys as well. And I also want to give a shout out to two
Bill know this. So
two companies that I dealt with. Snyder's Shelving. I just got their shelving. It's an aluminum shelving. If you got Lionel's or Big Boys, I'm using it for my staging. It's aluminum. They sell it in 6-foot lengths for like $12. But check it out. It's Snyder. I think I had the card here. But anyway, Snyder's shelving. Very, very good stuff. Very nice, high quality aluminum to put your trains on. I put it up. It looks absolutely fantastic. And it goes well with the scenery. Talking about scenery, Joe, we were talking about scenery in your amount of scenery to the ratio of track.
Yeah, that's the big benefit in N-Scale in my book is scenery to track ratio. I mean, you look at, you can put a nice 8-inch shelf and you can get a very sizable amount of scenery. And, there's people out there that have proven it. And I think, what's that guy from, his name slips my mind. He does the Canadian Pacific and Burlington Northern. But because he did it in N-Scale, he's able to get the full mountain, sizable mountains in. So it gives you that idea, that scene that you're in the mountains, up in the Canadian Rockies. So that's the benefit of N-Scale in my book. But like you said, you're dealing with small parts.
I got small.
All I have to say is thank you to all the manufacturers who have finally, within the last 10 years, started making really good handrails, so we don't have to keep ripping our handrails off and doing the old brass ones anymore, because that was not fun.
I just started 3 years ago, so I don't have that problem.
Yeah. I mean, when I was back in the when I was in high school back in the 90s, that was the rage, was you get a factory locomotive from like Atlas, and their handrails were a little overscale, so that was the big thing, was ripping them off and then putting in brass and soldering up and stuff. So I don't miss that.
What size rail do you use on your layout, guys? Bob and Joe. Joe, you go first.
Well, me, I use Code 80.
Oh, okay.
Atlas, and I got some Pico switches in there, and some Atlas stuff here, some hand thrones kind of stuff in the yard.
I went with Code 55. I just I wanted to go that route. I mean, that was all the rage, so I figured let me give it a shot. I like the way it looks. I started in the staging areas. I did the staging areas and all the hidden areas in Code 55 also, because I didn't really feel comfortable with transitions. I didn't want to have a Code 80 in the hidden areas and then transition to Code 55 because I was worried about running issues. So, but it does come with its own running issues. You got the old micro chains pizza cutters, so I had to change all out the wheel sets on the freight cars. Kato locomotives, they don't like Code 55 that well. So I'm in the process now of taking my Kato locomotives and changing over to low profile wheels. And I just did an ops video where I was showing everybody the one that I just did. And it really makes a difference, because the Katos were just, they weren't even going anywhere. I had sold them all because I was just like, it's not going to work. But since I found out about the low profile wheels for the Katos, it's changed my life.
Significantly,
yeah. Because hey, Kato is a beautiful running locomotive. It's a great locomotive, but it just was not. I didn't think it was running well on Code 55 at all. But those low profile wheels, that's the key. So if anybody out there is listening and having the same issue, give it a shot.
Were you hitting the ties or something?
Hitting the rail heads on the spike heads on the ties, and going through the turnouts. They were just bottoming out on the frogs and stuff. So, and the big 6-axle Katos, when we were taking the turns in the helix, they were just it was really weird. The front axle on the front of the locomotive was bobbing out of the turn. So, but once I changed over to the low profile wheels, that all went away. So at first I was really worried, because I thought it was something with my tracking issue. I thought I was laying a track wrong, or I thought it was just too tight curves, but no, it's just all wheels. It's all wheels.
And how did it always amazes me about how when these little things pop up, like you're saying with the wheels and the whole thing. I know I just had recently a situation where a certain switch, my train was going over. The trains would go over, and they just would jump the rail.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at this and I have Payco insulated frogs, so I don't have to worry. I'm watching this thing go through, and what happens is, I'm one night here after the ball game a couple of weeks ago. I'm perusing YouTube, and I see this guy talking about your trains jump the track. That's what his title. I don't even know who he was.
Okay.
And I hit his video, and he's showing how his train is going through the Payco insulated frog, and it's picking up and it's dropping down and it's derailing.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, "It's a simple fix." And I'm waiting. He takes a Dremel cutting top wheel.
Mm-hmm.
And he rubs it in, because it's plastic. He rubs it in through the thing, and it gives it enough clearance to open it up. And he says what happens is these manufacturers make this on such a large scale that they don't pay attention to the imperfections.
Hey, isn't that the beauty now? I mean, 20 years ago, we'd be pulling our hair out, writing a letter, hoping Model Railroad would answer it. But now you just go on. Let me tell you something. My YouTube channel, I love my subscribers. They are the best. Mm-hmm. I put a problem out there, and they come right back to me. They're like, "No, try this, do that." Same with my Facebook. I mean, that's the beauty of social media. It has just totally changed model railroading, and I just wish more model railroaders would get on board, because it is so much easier.
Yeah,
I think if the NMRA got involved, it would help too.
Here we go. I'm not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole. I'm going to leave that for another conversation.
We don't want a subscription rate going up. Controversy tends to make that happen.
This is true.
You got it, Bill. You got it. But yeah. So.
No, I agree with you. I mean, that just happened to be a real happenstance to come across this guy, and immediately I went into the layout room and took out the Dremel thing, and I'm going through it, and I'm like, let me see if this guy's like out of his mind. And I run the train through it, and I was like, son of a gun, look at this.
Another thing I ran into too was at micro engineering turnouts. I was not the points weren't settling right on the stock rails. So I was getting a lot of the train come into the turnout, it would go the wrong way. So I remember back in my N-Track days, there was one guy we had in our club, Dave Knob. He would file the backside of the turnout points with a hand jeweler's file, and I was like, you know what, maybe I got to pull that trick out of my book, and I started doing that, and now they're setting in that pocket, and we got no issues now.
I'm telling you,
the crazy thing is, you talk to people who use code 80, and they don't really have these issues, because when you get down to code 55, your tolerances are so much less.
Right.
And it just it compounds any little hiccup that you may have had in code 80 and code 55. It's detrimental.
Mhm.
Can ruin a good operations.
Oh, you have no idea.
Yes.
I think about like maybe about 6 months ago, I had the proverbial axe in hand, and I was ready to just rip it all out. So, but luckily for my subscribers and my followers, they help me out, so I'm able to get these little issues. And it seems like the more I'm running and the more I'm doing it, is the better and smoother it's getting. So, if
Well, my
code,
wife has
code
not-
55 guys, stick with it. You can get there.
Well, my wife has since hit the chainsaw. You can't have a gasoline powered thing in the house. I won't have it.
Yeah.
Won't have it.
An electric reciprocal saw works just as well.
Just as well. I have it hidden under the bench. You know, actually, I have it in a glass case, and it says "break it emergency." This is it. When it gets broken, it pulls it out, start ripping everything out.
That's right.
That's it. So, Bob, is this is this the Helix?
This is the Helix.
Wowzers.
Yeah.
Ooh, Thaw.
Yeah.
Oh, my Lord. How many turns is that, Bob?
That's 15.
15. What's the radius on that?
The 22 radius on the track. So it's about the frame is 4 foot square.
That's something else right there.
That's massive.
And I got about a just under 2% grade.
Yeah, you can move some stuff up that.
Troy did it right when he built that thing. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. He had his at a lower grade at 1.5, so the space in between there was a lot closer, which means I couldn't run any intermodal through there.
Right.
So I didn't have enough clearance. So I'm like, I've got stuff. I want to be able to run it up there.
Right.
So I had to make the blocks wider, and once I figured out how high it was going to be, and it's like, okay, I need 3 more. So,
yeah, I like that style. There is a little different than what I'm doing with the blocks like that. I'm doing the threaded rod approach.
Yeah, all I have to do is pull these braces off once I get to them, and the whole thing collapses down on top of each other.
Oh wow!
And it stands about maybe a foot tall.
Mm-hmm.
I've got some slides that show a bunch of this stuff, and got pictures of how I got it in here and everything. But yeah, it was interesting.
How far was the drive from your house to Troy's house?
9 hours.
Oh, very dedicated modeler you are.
Well,
took the words out of my mouth, Bill.
I did drive to see Jim in Michigan just for a party back in February, and that was 11 hours.
Wow.
So, yeah. But yeah, that was something I had to do for him.
Yes.
And then, well, obviously I had to get a Helix. So that was another thing. I had to go do that.
What the heck? Cross that off the bucket list.
Yeah. So how does the threaded rod approach work for you, Joe?
Well, with the first Helix I did, it was a little rocky because it was my first time ever doing a Helix. And but on this Helix that I'm doing now, I've learned the key is you got to make templates, and because I'm not using Kato Unitrack. You've seen a lot of guys, they'll put it up and they slide the Unitrack in, and that makes it so much nicer. But because I'm using the code 55, I have to do it level by level and hand lay it in there. So my first Helix was the rods were getting like cockeyed throughout. So I always tell everybody it's not going to win any beauty contest, but don't get me wrong, it's solid and smooth. This Helix that I'm doing now is because I did those templates of each section, and I just cut out from the template and I lay it back in.
Yeah.
It's all stacking up real easy. But what I like about it is with the first Helix, I had a little bit of roadbed warpage, after a few months. But because I did the hex bolts on the threaded rod, I was able to adjust those levels and smooth it back out. So that was the one thing that drew my attention to the threaded rod approach. I mean, But don't get me wrong, it's, you've got a hand thread a nut all the way down, then you got to put a washer, and then you got to, do that for every single rod all the way around, and then you drop down each level and fasten them together, and it gets tedious.
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh boy. So.
Curtis on the CNL line wants to know, how does code 55 compare to track and HO?
Code 70.
Yeah, that's what's.
Yeah, because what's your track, Bill? They call that code
83.
Code 83.
Okay.
Yeah. Code 83 is like code 80 on ours. It's a standard gauge. Code 100 is way back in the old days, but that's when you had the really deep Tyco wheel flanges, and you couldn't run them on 83 now.
No. Plus, the other thing to consider is older engines have wide tread width. So Pico insole frogs are perfectly DCC friendly. But if you get an old engine with a wide wheel tread, when you're coming into the diverging route, it can short across the two ends of the frog rails and short out the turnout. There are tricks to file in there to create a bevel on the end of the rails to widen that gap. But it's a lot of work. I have problems with that constantly with old brass engines in our club layout.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, trying to look for some questions here. Not everybody's chatting among themselves. Hello out there.
Really don't see many questions at all tonight, Bill.
But that's
we're answering everything.
Yeah, most likely, probably. We're probably, right on topic.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're talking about all the good stuff that goes with N-Scale,
Lee says, Joe, love watching your channel. Keep it up. Big Bill, tell him. I'm telling him, Lee. I'm telling him.
Thanks, Lee. But, hey, here's a big topic we can talk about N-Scale. And, is the development of electronics that we're I'm going to say the last 5 years have been a leap year, like light years from. So when 2012 was my last show with the N-Track, I kind of went a little dormant with Mount Raritan because I was doing the basement, all that stuff. And then last year, 2016, I started buying more equipment. Oh my Lord. You want to talk about a difference? Like, look at Trainworks. Trainworks is putting out some phenomenal equipment compared to what we used to have, 2012. So they've made big jumps, just in freight cars alone. I mean, I got Athearn cars. They're coming through with metal wheel sets, and they got them new couplers on them. And so there's big changes in rolling stock, but the big thing is the electronics in the locomotives. I mean, we're looking at DCC now with sound. I mean, and we're producing phenomenal sound. I mean, you look at the ESU and the Loke sound and the soundtracks. I mean, they're phenomenal. And then you couple it with, I've seen a bunch of people out there using iPhone speakers, or then there's a bunch of manufacturers making other speakers that are better too. So that has really changed N-Scale. I mean, I'll go back to 1996 where we couldn't even dream of this stuff. We were drooling when they came out in HO scale, but it's finally coming around to N-Scale, and I think that's big for us.
Oh yeah, with my scale trains, big blow. The ESU guys just put a phenomenal sound in this thing. It's just unreal. I mean, you turn on F8 to turn on the sound, and it puts it into a startup sequence. The lights come on. In HO, the lights come on in a certain sequence. You got the cab lights come on, and then it turns on, and you wait for it to start up, and then the number boards come on, and then it just sits there and idles. You're going, wow. How much more can they do?
Yeah. Hey, Bob, your camera's not working right now.
Yeah, I know. I was moving it in a different spot.
But the big thing.
Rachel Stopper says, you guys are great. A big shout out to Joe.
Thanks, Rachel.
Oh,
I know her.
Okay, Rachel. Nice
One of my followers.
We never get enough women. Is she a model railroader?
Unfortunately not.
No, but
She's very very supportive.
There you go. There you go.
But the one thing I'm looking forward to getting dabbling in here and very soon is the sound cars. Starting doing the soundtracks, sound cars. You know, that is just wow. That just is crazy.
It's something you guys should look at for speakers.
Yeah.
Luke Sound has a small Sugar Cube speaker package. It has like different baffle configurations. It's about $10.
Okay.
I saw a demonstration of one of them in an N-Scale engine that made it sound like an HO engine. It was just incredible.
There's this guy that I've been following. I gotta find. He does. I'll come back to it. I can't remember his name, but he was just doing some demos and some of his sound stuff that came out. I think it was, and his stuff is crazy. He does the Nickel Plate Road, and he's got a bunch of good sound now.
Ralph Renzetti says, build a threaded rod method may be tedious, but it's well worth the effort. You can have super elevation.
Yeah. You can. And some of my levels have been super elevated by accident. I didn't do it on purpose.
Right. Josh Cohen wants to know, how many operators does it take to take their ops on the Conrail, New Jersey layout, your layout?
So right now, I haven't had any official ops sessions yet, but the plan is to have a staging yard master who would also function as the SA junction operator. So he has two positions, a yard master for Brown's Yard, a dispatcher, and then we're going to end up having road crews. I could comfortably fit in the layout room, the yard master and at least 2 to 3 road crews. So one-man road crews.
Right.
So I'm looking at probably around 5 or 6 operation just to get minimum. But I do have extra positions. You know, I can bump myself out of the layout room and I can go up and function as the superintendent or whatever, you know, just to give everybody room so they can run it. But I think I could probably, you know, balloon it up to, 8, I think would be the max.
Right.
So, but I think 5 bare minimum to get a good operating session going.
And Andy Crawford wants to know, how about scenery and structure plans? What's the planned technique, foam, plaster, etc.? And what's the target? Mountains and trees covered or more urban? Much planning for sight lines and such yet?
Okay, so the Central Jersey area is relatively flat. And then when you get down to South Jersey and Ocean County, Barry, you can confirm this, that it's all pine barrens down there.
Yeah,
so
it's mostly pine barrens with some deciduous, yeah.
Right, so we're going to start up in Sayreville and we're running south down through the layout to the peninsula, and then the cutout is right there after the peninsula. That's where we're going to transition down to the South Jersey type of scenery. So right now I'm doing the helix, and then I'm going to connect the main line up to the peninsula, and then we'll have the main line running, and then I can go back and do Brown's Yard, and then I can connect in the Sayreville running track is going to be like a separate little shelf on the back of the room when you come in. And I'm also looking at doing something very special for the Amboy secondary or the Dayton branch line. I'm not ready to tell everybody yet.
Not yet.
It's going to be big. I think people are going to like it. So I'm going to leave that alone.
There's a lot of railroading in Jersey in general.
Oh yes, I mean, look at just think about all the lines that were down there. I mean, all the railroads in Jersey alone, before the Conrail. And all those lines are still there.
A lot of guys in our club, are big time into the PRSL and everything.
Oh yes,
yeah. Where we have our club meetings at, on occasion, and one of our members puts up his Glassboro to Cape May layout in the waiting room at the station where we meet at. And it's actually an old PRSL station in Glassboro where we meet. So it's got a long history in this state. Yeah.
So, and a big premise with my layout is that, if you look at history, the DOT in 2015, the New Jersey DOT did a study, and they said that there is no north-south connection in New Jersey for a freight rail. So what that means is any industries down in South Jersey, like in Gloucester County or something, their freight has to exit the state across the Delaware Bridge through Pennsylvania and then go all the way north and either come over through the gap up there in Ewing across the old Trenton line, or go further up to Allentown and cross over the Delaware there. So they were saying it was a hindrance for businesses here in New Jersey. So that's kind of, I'm keying on that premise, is that early back in '83 during Conrail's final system plan, they were pressured by the New Jersey to keep open a north-south connection, and that's what I've done, is by taking the southern secondary and joining with the Freehold secondary, is making a north-south connection. So makes for a good operations where I can still do my locals and then have a bunch of through traffic, because without through traffic, I don't think it really makes sense.
So there's no north-south connection out of Pavonia Yard in Camden.
No. Any of those, all them refineries down there in Gloucester and stuff like that, all their stuff has to go over to Philly into the Philadelphia yard, get sorted out, and then decide which way they're going to go. So I'm not too big on freight rates and stuff like that. I can only imagine that's got to add to the price.
Sure, I would think so. Yeah.
So Bob, prior to this, you were showing us a scene. There was a background scene of the railroad of your Helix. I wanted to.
Oh yeah. What I was showing earlier was basically the kind of the whole room as it sits right now. I can show it again if you want.
I would love to see it.
Okay. Let's put her up on.
Is that me on the middle screen?
That is you. No, that's not.
Tell the truth. Am I not the best looking host? Really?
You are the host with the most there, Bill.
I had a duck. My wife was throwing something.
Yeah. Bill, let me just tell you, I hope your wife's listening, because I binge watched all your videos.
I know.
Your wife is the best.
Is she?
Yes, she is. Georgianne is a sweetheart.
Okay, this is the roundhouse. It's all lit up.
Yeah.
Currently. Turn the lights off. If it stays in focus, there we go.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
Come on, stay in focus.
That's nice.
And so I've got a couple sets of lights in there. I can turn off part of the lights and turn off the outside and so forth. You get all the lights off. And got the flashing light.
That's going to be like the museum piece.
Yes.
Nice.
And the first thing you see when you walk into the man cave is this roundhouse and turntable.
Cool.
That's the way to do it, Bob.
Yep. And then it'll have the big mountain over here on the side, with the, cars going up it. And I've got a couple cars. I got a police car and a Ford Coupe. And I guess it's going to be pulled over or whatever. I'm going to get that on there.
Nice.
I've got a camper from, what's his name?
That guy, I know.
That guy, Curtis Hunt.
Curtis Hunt.
He sent me a camper and a car, and it's up there right now, just sitting there positioned. But so that's what it looks like at night. I plan on putting some more, like some street lamps over here to kind of highlight the turntable, and so I haven't wired those in yet. But as you go around, you go up the helix, and you got right here at the top, it'll get a.
Now that's the
go
door.
left to right. Yeah, that's the door.
Now that's where the river's that's where the waterfall, I should say.
Right. The waterfall will go down the middle. I'll have a couple sides of lots of trees and rocks. Somewhere down in the bottom, a place for the water to collect, of course. But I can open this up, and I'll see the helix that way.
Wow. That's a fantastic idea.
Yeah. I'm sorry to interrupt, Bob. Can you get up underneath it?
Oh yeah, I can still get underneath it.
Okay, got it.
In fact, I'll do it right now. Well, if you could see me.
The door
Door's
closed
in
a
the
little.
way.
But I actually don't believe that you're actually okay. Now we
I'm in there.
There you are.
I'm in there somewhere. But yeah, just have to duck under and make it work.
That's nice.
So the spline white styrene, is that the road?
Yes, that's Woodland Scenics. Modular, whatever ramp kind of stuff that they had. So I said, I got a bunch of this just sitting around. I'll glue that to some cardboard.
Now,
I'll make my road out of it.
now what are you going to use to go over that?
Right now it's going to be a variety of things, but I'm going to plan on using Shaper Sheet.
Okay. Oh, from
From Woodland Scenics.
Yeah.
I use that already on a mountain that I'm making over in the closet. So that turned out pretty good. I was like, I'm going to get some more. I can lay that over the little areas, and then I can glue rocks to it, or I'll shape it, and depends on how it works out, I guess. But everything down the bottom, down by the roundhouse or the floor area, the layout will be just put rocks and trees and brush and whatever else behind the roundhouse, and put a tunnel underneath it so the road can go into it, simulated of course. And it'll just kind of simulate coming out of tunnels out of the wall. It'll just like it's going around the helix all the way around, and so some sort of a imaginary roadway, I guess.
Right. Ralph Renzetti says, Bob, you'll have to minimize the scenery on the hinge side of the helix door, since it will bind.
Right.
Yeah.
The whole point is to since I can go open it, it'll have sort of a big chute or some sort of little gap there in the rock formation, and so it'll just kind of probably be out in this area over here, and I kind of want to have a lookout over here, and a hole that people can walk out onto a little shelf so they can observe the waterfall. And so that's kind of what I have on the top, is a little parking area so they can go out there and gaze at the wonders of water.
Oh, like a scenic lookout.
Yes, a little scenic lookout kind of thing.
Nice.
And so I'll create that. And the good thing is I can pull this cardboard off so I can work on it. So I take it off, scenic it, put it back up, and attach it somehow. I'll have probably some wire or screw or something like that to screw into the board behind it so it stays up. But it's all in theory. We'll see how it works.
On paper it looks great.
On paper it looks good.
Absolutely, until we actually put it into practice. And no, I just had that situation happen. I put in the junkyard, the O'Shea's junkyard. Every man's junk is another man's gold.
Yeah.
And I was going to put a fence around it, and then when I started building the fence, I fitted the fence, and I said, "This fence isn't going to work."
Mm-hmm.
I hate when that happens. I really do.
Yeah.
And is that the Man Cave's hat collection?
That is the part of the Man Cave hat collection. Yes.
So
Nice.
I have a few that are not hung up.
So that's your shelf up there that runs around through your
Yep.
house, right, Bob?
Yep. That's the Man Cave version of the shelf anyway. It's the one that's stained on the bottom. The other ones are not. The one in the bedroom's painted the same color as the wall, so it's kind of meshes in with it.
Is that a double track or just a single?
Up on this wall is 3 tracks.
Okay.
Wow.
There's one main track that goes through the loop in the house. On the wall side is the track that's coming in from the other rooms, so that'll come around over to the other side, over in this direction here, and hook up with the main line. And everything over on this side is a single track, all the way around to the other corner over here. where it hits the doorway, and then it goes into the other room, and or turns right and comes back through the room. So I can keep the track all in the same room, or I can have it go to the rest of the house. And when phase 3 comes in, I'll have it go into another portion of the house if I want to go the full route.
Since it's up on the ceiling close and the switches, how do you know when, you know,
When they're switched?
when they're switched?
Well, I built myself a control panel the other day.
Uh-huh.
Made a video of it. Bring it down here.
Listen, I just wanted to point out something. Please do not let Earl, you know, Gino Sharp's good friend Earl, see that hat. Because he might mistake that. Earl might mistake that as a Sasquatch and shoot. He's a Sasquatch hunter. For people out there that don't know, Gino Sharp is a good friend Earl.
Earl E. Times.
Early times.
Right, and he's a Sasquatch. If you have Sasquatch on your property, and you need somebody
Do not have.
call
Don't
Earl.
have. No, I don't have that one. But anyway, I use Tam Valley switch machines, basically servos,
Right.
and I have a Tam Valley switch controller basically for the servo.
Yeah, it's your
And it's got a
facial
button on there.
controller.
And it just switches from green to red when it switches over, so I know green is going to go that direction, or go that direction if it's green on that side. I'll just rotate them back, and this one just happens to be a double switch, so it switches this one and this one over here. And so I can route through the inside of this room, or I can do reverse loop and come back to the helix and go down the helix.
Nice.
And then if I want to go outside into the other room, you know, depending on which direction I go, let's say I normally go off to the right, I'll just switch over to this one, and it goes into the other bedrooms. And this whole green thing is representing 2 bedrooms.
Wow.
Or at least actually 1 bedroom. And then it comes into the 2nd bedroom here, where I'd have the 3rd phase where it'll switch into the rest of the house. And that red line represents the other part of the house. And then it'll come back in through into the man cave and switch over onto the other side. Now I'm back in the whole house. And then when I want to come back down, I just route it back into the man cave part, send it back down the helix on either that direction or in that direction.
That's pretty cool.
Depending which way I'm going.
Nice.
Yeah, we
I
had
like
a
that.
question
That's
here, Bob. There's a like that small piece of the Woodland Scenics riser that's next to the roundhouse. Is that going to be
Yep.
for a track or for a road?
Just road,
Okay.
no track. Yeah.
And Eminem Mark wants to know, what kind of videos do you shoot with that green screen? And Mark, you got to check out his videos. But I'll let him.
Yeah. Well, basically, if you watch my last video or any of my recent videos in the past 6 months or so, the beginning or the end of my videos where I'm sitting there talking and kind of giving you an explanation of what I'm going to be talking about, or giving my summary and everything else at the end, I usually have pictures of the video running behind myself, and then I have to use a green screen to create that with.
Gotcha.
And so I do that, and you know, anything else I may be playing around with, I'll need a green screen for. You know, trying to be creative, you know.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. In Bob's last video, where he mentions that he's going to be on the show, and he's also talking about he's shooting himself live, but apparently the green screen, the video is running, and Bob is inside the helix.
Well, actually, I was outside the helix.
Right, we're outside, but
with the cameras inside the helix. It was
right,
yeah.
right. It was a bit disconcerting, Bob.
Yeah.
I got a little nervous.
I
It
was
was
at two places at the same time, right?
Let's do the one more time around for the giveaways, Barry.
Alrighty.
And then we'll, as soon as we finish, we'll give out the code.
Alright. Alright,
For
so we have our long shadow trees up, Bill.
long excuse me. Once again tonight, and this will be Long Shadow Model Tree's last show with us, not due to anything we or they have said, and they're not going out of business, folks. Far from it. Just that Bob's taking a little break from it, and we just want to say we greatly appreciate his sponsorship and his giveaways with us. Bob has been with us from the very beginning. I really have to give him a big shout out. I really do, because he's been really instrumental in helping us. And if you guys can, please visit his longshadowmodeltrees.com site. Can purchase it. If whoever wins this tonight, the 4-pack of HO or N-Scale oak and pine trees, if you have a YouTube channel, put a video of the unpacking, the mail call, whatever it is, and, show what you got. And, we just want to thank Bob for his continuing support in this hobby and making some really, really great products. Thank you very much, Bob. It's greatly appreciated, and we truly do owe you a debt of gratitude for being one of the first on our show and helping with the giveaway. So with that, he's giving away a 4-pack of HO or N-Scale oak and pine trees, Long Shadow Model Trees. Whoever wins that tonight.
All right, Bill. Up next is Dave's Decals.
Dave's Decal, Big Dave. Dave's giving away these 2 sheets of decals, any 2 sheets. Check out his website. And this guy's got tons and tons of stuff, models, decals, and stuff like that. And just check it out, because he's got the faded ones. He's got the up-to-date ones. He's got the newspaper that you can use as debris on the track. I'm absolutely going to get a couple of those. But you get a choice of 2 sheets if you win this. Also, check out his webpage at daveart.net. Good stuff on there. Good stuff.
Absolutely. And next we have Weathering Solutions.
Weathering Solutions. You think I should know this by now, right? I've only been doing this for 3 years, right? So Weathering Solutions, one of our new giveaway partners here is Weathering Solutions. They do weathering decals such as oil drips and rust and graffiti. Some really good stuff, as you can see by the pictures. Go check them out on Facebook. They have a great Facebook page. And Eric, one of the owners of this, is a very, very, very nice man, and would be more than happy to help you in anything that you need to do or ask any questions. You'll get a couple of sheets of these if you win. And that's Weathering Solutions, and they're weathering decals.
And up next, Bill, is our Central Valley Model Works.
Central Valley Model Works. These guys, Jeff and Heather, nice couple. They've been doing this with us just as almost, I think they came on right after Long Shadow Trees. They're giving away the punch plate bridge kit from Central Valley Model Works. It's a 150-foot HO punch plate bridge kit. It's a cvmw.com. I got to find out. We put on here or N-Scale. I don't think they do N-Scale.
For punch plate?
Yeah, I think they do.
Darn.
But we'll have to check it out, though.
they did.
You're right, Bill. We should verify
that. But anyway, it's a 150-foot punch plate bridge kit, and it's from Central Valley Model Work. Check them out at .com. Good people, good stuff. Nice bridge.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And our final giveaway of
Wish
the
I
night
had
is
one.
the Railroad Model Craftsman.
Yes, Model Railroad Craftsman magazine, or White River Productions, was so gracious in giving us a free 3-month subscription to Railroad Model Craftsman. They've been always bringing you the best in model railroading since 1933. It's a good magazine. I enjoy it myself. I get it. So it's pretty cool. I like it. And that they're giving away. It's a free 3-month. It's sort of like a kind of teaser, because once you get it, you're going to want to get it for the whole term. So it's worth getting in your mailbox. you know. So we're giving away that for free as well tonight. And also, let me not forget Highways and Byways, John Howard, who's been with us as long, if not as long, and he does the decals for the road striping. And also, who else? Oh, Strike Force Hobbies. Strike Force Hobbies, by far one of the best providers of hobby utensils, hobby tools, hobby paints, anything you want. Check them out at strikeforcehobbies.com. They're pretty good. And now you can give away that. You can tell the folks out there in the community what the code, the password is.
So,
Barry.
folks, we have. Let me bring up our how to win.
Oh yes.
So
Barry's going to take over this because this is way above my pay scale.
So, folks, if you want to win tonight, go to YouTubeModelBuilders.com, and you'll see right there under YouTube Model Builders Live. If you click on that, and you'll see the little menu come down. Go to the bottom where it says Live Show Giveaway Entry Form. Fill out your information, and the passcode is YTMB, all lowercase. And just remember, we do check for duplicate entries, and if you try using a different email address, we'll find your duplicate IP address. So one entry per person, please. The web page is now active, so it's ready to accept your entry, so go on ahead.
The code is
YTMB.
Right.
Yellow.
Y is in Honda, T is in Thomas, M is in Mary, B is in boy. It's YouTube Model Builders.
All lowercase, folks.
Righto.
I'm just looking on the cvmw.com page, Bill. They do not show a punch plate truss bridge, but they do have two N-Scale 150-foot truss bridges. They're just not using the punch plate girders in them. So one's a Pratt truss, and the other is a let's see. There's a truss bridge with walkways and railings, and they have a third one, which is a high portal truss bridge. They're all three in N-Scale. So
right. Just also, while I got your attention while you're filling those forms out, guys, this Tuesday, that will be the 18th of April at 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to have a special show on with some special guests, and I think you guys should tune in. I would like for you to tune in. I would really like for you guys to tune in if you can. This Tuesday, April 18th at 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to do a special show. We had nothing planned for Tuesday night. There was no shows. So John and I got together and a couple of other guys, and we're going to do a special show that night. I'm not going to divulge
the subject matter.
I can't buy these dentures in the drugstore anymore. I can't. I have to go to a real dentist. I really do have to go to a real dentist. I went to my dentist the other day. You know my dentist, Barry.
yes.
Dr. Vinny Babuch.
Yeah, Dr. Vinny Babuch.
Yeah, I said, Dr. Vinny Babuch. I said, Doc, my teeth are brown. You know what he says to me? Wear a brown necktie.
There you go.
I get no respect. What can I tell you? Don't forget to tip your waiter and try the veal, folks. Okay. But anyway, April 18th, 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Tuesday night hangout show. It's going to be based like a live show, kind of like this. We're not going to have a lot of people on the panel, just the special guests that we invited. So it's going to be kind of like a quasi-live show. So please join in. It would be, I think you'll really enjoy it. And it's something that we've been planning and something that we were asked to do. And so we're gonna do that. So please, I know I keep slamming this home. April 18th, and I'm gonna put a video out, but I just want you guys to just be aware of it, just to come by and check it out. Greatly appreciate it. So
I do have a fun fact for you there.
okay, Bob, what's
that,
the
Bob?
It comes from this Christmas present I got, The Year in Train Trivia by B&O Railroad Museum. And I came across this the other day. And since you're a baseball fan there, guys, both you and Bill and Joe and anybody else watching, did you know that the future Baseball Hall of Famer Leroy Satchel Paige received his nickname while working as a red cap at Union Railroad Station in Mobile, Alabama?
Oh, wow.
really?
Yes.
Wow.
Page devised a contraption that enabled him to carry several bags at once, generating bigger tips. Other redcaps thought he looked like a walking satchel tree. Over time, the nickname was shortened to Satchel.
Nice.
So,
Hey,
Look at that.
look at that.
That's pretty
Mhm.
cool.
I'm
That
glad
is-
I did tonight.
Absolutely. You never know when you need a little bit of useless trivia to tuck away in the back of your
And
mind
you
for
right.
parties.
Look where
that's right.
look where it came from. A model railroad.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How many? Raise your hand if this has happened to you. Somebody asks you. Somebody sees your shirt and they see you have a railroad shirt on, and they say, "Oh, are you into model railroading?" And you get so enthusiastic because you think you've met another fellow model railroad, where all they're doing is just asking about the shirt.
Yeah.
Then you start telling about model railroading and your model railroading, and it's at that moment that when you look up at them because you're so enthralled. I mean, this happens to me. That you see that glazed look.
Yeah, and when you can see your reflection in those glazed eyes,
Right.
then
Like The Walking Dead, and then you realize, I have a better chance. I have a better chance of evangelizing on the corner. It's gospel. More people would listen to me than if I was doing model railroad.
absolutely.
I walked in my local hobby store the other day, and I see this guy behind the counter, and I recognized him. He's been doing the train show circuit, and he's got a big N-Scale thing. He's a wild kind of guy. Had a 4x8 sheet of plywood that had 2 helixes on there, and everything was dual track, and it was constantly running. And the helixes were probably 8 stories tall, and he had trains running in every single inch of this piece of wood. And I thought it was pretty neat to watch, but he's standing there behind the counter. He's playing with a turntable. And he looks at the door and he sees me walk in. And I'm like, okay, he's staring at me. Why is he staring at me? And I'm walking by, I'm kind of looking at stuff. And he goes, "Are you the guy that just made a video on YouTube about putting in a turntable?"
Ooh.
I'm like, "I could be. Are you to Bob?" I was
Have you wrote
like,
it?
yes. Why? Why do you want to know? I was just sitting there literally on my phone watching your video.
And here you are standing
And
there.
here you walk in the door.
I can't believe it.
That's
I
funny.
couldn't believe it. I was like, well, what'd you think? Well, I thought it was really interesting. I was trying to figure out whether I should buy this turntable because I'm building something for somebody else. And like, well, it works great for me. That one there is great. And, just do this,
You
do
have a
this.
lot more hair.
Yeah. True. Yeah, he didn't recognize me without the hat on. But,
Yeah. But that's pretty cool. I think that's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
it was kind of surreal. I was like, whoa, okay. I guess this is what James Wright goes through all the time.
Yeah, I saw him up at Amherst, and he's just standing in the middle of the scale trains booth, and people coming up and talking to him and everything. And he's got Mark and his guys all around him. They dragged me and Mike over to meet him. It was just so much fun.
Yeah.
When I went to the Amherst show, I met Tony Custer. Custer is standing, and we were on the Scenic Express line. He was behind me, and I turned around and saw him. And I paid for my product, and I said, "Mr. Custer, I wanted, thank you very much. I've always read your, train of thought column. I always really appreciate it." And he looked at me and he shook my hand and he goes, I'm sorry, do I know you? I said, yeah, you owe me a couple of dollars. Remember the last time we met? And he got like, everybody around us looked, and I said, no, I'm only kidding. Don't listen. Right now, because I don't want to make a scene in front of you.
And that's the one thing about going to the Amherst show every year. Is you get to meet people like that. I mean, I've met so many people doing that throughout these years. I mean, me and Mike one time, we spent like half hour standing there talking to Tony Custner one time. And
That's the beauty of, if anybody out there is listening and you get a chance to go in January, save your pennies up now, get out there, go to Amherst. It's a train show on steroids.
Absolutely.
Everybody raves about that show. I'm gonna have to make the trip.
Oh, you have to.
Joe, let me know. You want to go? We'll split a room. I have a CPAP machine, so I don't snore. So
yeah,
I can sleep.
Yeah.
I can sleep
either.
in a hurricane. Don't worry about it.
Bill can testify. You get to come up there if you come up early for Thursday and Friday. You can take the Model Railroad University clinics, and Mike and I will be are always teachers there, and we help out at the free clinics during the show. So it's always a good fun time. Bill was up there not last year, but the year before. So,
yeah, because you can't do it every year. I realize you got to. For me, like I'm every other year, but I'm telling you, it truly is. You got to get good shoes. You got to get comfortable shoes, and you got to take Advil before you go because there's a lot of walking and your knees are gonna hurt. But
you put Dr. Scholl's in too.
Yeah,
that's exactly right.
Well, put it this way, guys: it's 4 buildings, 750,000 square feet of floor space. All model trains. No toys and stuff like you find at a Greenberg show. This is literally every manufacturer you could possibly think of. Vendors from everywhere. Massive, massive layouts. Some of the best layouts you've ever seen. And if it's made, you can probably find it there.
Mm-hmm. Well, could you find this?
Oh boy, what's he got?
Bob, just hold on one second. I'll answer this question.
Okay.
Mr. Donovan, there is no way that I am sharing a room.
Just
put it out there, bro.
Mark, love you, but
I love you like a brother, not necessarily my brother, but great respect for you, but it ain't happening. It ain't happening.
Well, he'll be
That's the popsicle bridge. Am I correct?
Yeah, that is the popsicle stick bridge.
That is awesome.
Built that as a popsicle stick.
4 feet of wonder.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of popsicles, bro. How many popsicle sticks?
A lot. I'm not sure. I didn't count. Probably.
How many pounds did you gain eating the popsicles to get those sticks?
Actually, none. I went to the craft store and bought 1,000 of them.
You cheated, man.
And I probably used about 100
well, that's
or
not
so.
too bad.
Yeah.
Hey, Ralph. Looks like Ralph Renzetti goes up there, too.
You want me to go ahead and I can pop up some pictures and show you where we're at?
Yeah.
Sure.
For my layout.
Sure.
Yeah, well, I'm just waiting the last few minutes to make sure that the entries level off.
I like that bridge, Bob. I really do. I remember when you built it.
Yeah. The wife wants to make it a fairyland up there. That's why I have the little fairy arch.
That's all right. Well, what about the? Didn't you do a curved trestle?
I did do a curved trestle, and we're getting close to that right in this room. This is our jungle room, and I was putting up the tunnel in the tree, basically. Cut this out of a single piece of wood, mounted it in the corner, and you can see that going right through the tree. I didn't want the train falling off, hitting the leaves, so I built a glass tunnel to go over the track.
Sweet.
And this was out of an old bubble lamp.
Wow.
So it broke, and so I cut through the bubble lamp and made a sort of a plate right there that I can use to screw it down from the bottom, and it lifts up the whole tube so it doesn't fall down on the track.
Nice.
Very nice job, Bob.
It looks, works great. And there's the whole tree. Got a TV in the tree right down here.
Nice.
Monkeys and the whole jungle theme in the room.
Those swords on the wall. I like it.
Yep. There's
there
the
go.
tunnel underneath. And
So did you find your pictures, Joe? There we
Yeah.
go. Wow, there's a track plan.
Yeah, so that's the initial track plan. There is some changes, as you'll see. We went through like down on this side here, on the right-hand side. I've extended, moved the guy closer to the door, so. And let's see. I did the old.
oh wow.
Yeah, did a little test fit,
The old
before
Dave
I got going
Pop
on
model.
construction. Yep, just like right out of that magazine. So just to make sure before I started doing all the bench work that it was going to fit right, and made my little stick figure to test it out.
Nice. That's a good idea. I never thought about that.
I went everywhere to find those O-scale figures that he was talking, or the figures that he was talking about in the article, and everybody looked at me like, "No, I don't know what you're talking about."
Yeah.
That's so 3D.
Yeah, I had to make one.
It looks so real. It's 3D.
Yeah.
So this is the staging yard, and this is an up-to-date picture. You can see the panel
Wow.
right here. That's to control the SA junction. Because out here it comes into a big Y at the bottom of the big helix. So
Joe, definitely come down to your house.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the electronics cabinet in this little drawer here. Are you guys seeing my little cursor?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. In this drawer here, this is all my. I have 2 ATX power supplies, and that's running all my 12-volt stuff. And then up top, this is all my Digitrax drawers. I got 2 power districts running now, and then I got room for 2 more up top. This one's for Browns, and then this one will be for the engine facility at South Amboy. So this picture here, this is SA Junction. So this is where the big helix is, and as you can see, I had to put cameras in so we could view, what's going on in SA Junction. And here's a close up of that panel.
Oh,
So
sweet.
yeah.
Wow.
So the cameras really help out, because you're in that closet and you want to move through that junction, you can see where you're at. And then I went ahead and used the Digitrax BDL 168 to do block occupancy, so I could tell which areas are occupied by trains. Because this little graphic you see here is all of the hidden stuff that you're not going to see on the layout.
Okay.
So, and now the staging yard operator, who's going to function as the SA control operator, he can make decisions on when he wants trains to come down. So there's no interlockings or anything like that. So he can make a mistake. So it's just going to have to be like a training issue, make sure we don't have trains running into each other. This is the big helix where we're at right now, as of today. This is it's 14.5-inch radius curve. I made it an oval just to give it a little more run, because that's kind of a learning curve for my first helix. It was a pure circle, and I just felt that it wasn't running too well, so I wanted a little more length to get the trains up going a little better. So that's this, and then here's a better view. I've kind of nicknamed this the Colosseum. It looks like the Roman Colosseum, the way it's coming together. So, and there's another view of that. Then so now you can see that SA Junction down here is all covered up. So
Right.
That's why you need those cameras. Here's the return loop that comes out of that big helix, and it goes through the wall underneath, and then here's all the bench work. And it wraps all the way around, and then here's the mini helix. This is the circular one, and this is about a year ago, because all that you'll see it's all filled in now. This is the top of the helix, and I put the junction in here with Tom's River Industrial heading down to Ciba-Geigy, and as you can see, it's way down by the door frame, so I was able to get some more space out of it. And then the main line comes up here and splits. This is Ciba-Geigy. They manufactured resins and dyes at this plant through the 60s and 70s. So this is my rendition of it. I mean, it's a huge plant, but I had to compress it in, and I just took some key structures that I could find. Very hard to do research on the facility because it's all been bulldozed. It's now a Superfund site. So and you can
Welcome to Jersey.
Exactly. The land is super fun. So you can see there's the door, and I was able to squeeze that in there, and I kind of curved this backdrop just to make, or the fascia, excuse me, just to give it a little more, make it look a little better coming in. So then Lakehurst, this is the actual location as of 2014, and you can see it's abandoned. This was the old C&J main line from Jersey City all the way down to Bridgeton.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Come down my neck of the woods.
That's right. So, and then this is the mock-up of what it's going to be like.
Wow.
So I got the Route 70 overpass, and I made sure to put in the signal bridge because it's kind of a key structure. And then I got the Toms River Industrial pulling off over here. So then what happened was when I was designing, and these next few slides here, I wanted to represent the Southern Secondary in some respect, because I've changed the name of everything. It's all now called the Sayerhurst Secondary because, I've gone with that scheme of the traffic connection between North and South. So I figured it wouldn't be the Southern Secondary. They would have changed the name. So that's why I did it. And big shout out to my wife. She was the one who picked the name for the layout. So yeah, Bob's right. Yeah, it is her layout too. So
Yeah.
So anyway, so the traffic that goes north of Farmingdale wraps around down into another little hidden staging area. So you could see down below, and then I put this area above it. So this is all going to be hidden down here. So again, more cameras and some occupancy so you can know what's in there. So trains will come down. The train entering will step here. The engine will cut off. I did magnetic uncouplers, and it'll scoot around and pick up what's on track 2 and then head out for the op session.
So, now, Joe, what's the obviously the keys?
Oh, okay. A lot of questions about the keys. So when I was designing, I wanted some way. I was thinking ahead, and I was like, well, what if I'm doing an open house? How am I going to keep little fingers from manipulating turnouts and behind our backs? So I devised a way. I put the key in, and when you turn that key, it powers the whole panel off. So you can't move anything. But it also, another secondary thing that came out of it, which I didn't plan, is, what if something goes wrong in this panel? Because I'm from my Navy days, I'm always thinking ahead. What if something goes wrong during an op session and I got to troubleshoot something in this panel, that all this stuff that's attached to this? I don't want to drop the whole 12-volt bus because then the whole system will shut down. Yeah. So you just de-energize it and you can do the work in this general vicinity. Just kind of thinking ahead.
That's a smart idea, Joe.
Yeah. Well, so then
I just BNSF guy 617 at Bob wants to know, how long did it take you to build that bridge?
The popsicle one?
Yes.
Probably 2 weeks, off and on. With the painting and the glue drying and all that good stuff, and planning it all out.
Okay.
But it really didn't take that long. I probably threw it all together in probably the weekend. Once I got going.
All right.
Now here's an interesting question from Ralph Renzetti. Said, this may be a boring question, but have you sealed through the wall cutouts by fireproofing them by closing them in? I guess that's directed to you, Bob.
Oh.
Say yes.
Yeah. Well.
Exactly. Say yes.
The one tunnel that I have through my wall in the closet, it's just right there. The little jut-in part of the wall that goes to make the closet the size it is, and I have some cardboard and some wood that goes around it, fills in the space, so it's all filled in, so it keeps fire thing. But
yeah,
the rest of the stuff is already going through a return air duct back to the furnace.
okay.
So it's got to be open, so all the air is being sucked in out of the rooms through that space where the trains run anyway, so
I got
no need to worry about that. But yeah, I do plan on sealing up the holes and stuff like that.
Well, I've been checking our people submitting entries, and looks like we've topped out at 30 entries, Bill. Whenever you're ready to say, right, roll the drum.
Let Joe finish up his.
Okay, I'll move it along then.
Take your time, bro.
Okay. So this is one of the sand pits down in Jackson. So historically, South Jersey was known for its sand, and that's what C&J made its money on. So this is off of the Glidden Spur, and this is my representation of the Glidden Spur here, and that's over top of that little hidden staging area. So that's pretty much the South Jersey area there, and this is going to be all flat and pines and sand down here.
Yeah, trust me, there's sand trains and grain trains that runs all through my area. Because I live right along the Vineland Secondary.
Yeah, the Vineland Secondary. There's a lot of stuff moving over there.
Yeah, there's a
I know one guy. I know one guy is going to be happy to see this Conrail. Sparky 107, 107.
Yes.
Sparky.
Yeah, he's a big Conrail guy up in Canada. He's going to love this.
So there's just some different views of what's been finished. And this is Lakewood, New Jersey, and the runaround down there. There's a little trouble spot sometimes for Conrail. You can see this little white van here. See this guy? He's too close to the rails. A lot of times the SA-31 comes down through here, and they have trouble getting these guys clear of this. So then this is my representation of Lakewood with the Nassos and that yellow building there. I didn't throw that picture in, but I loved it. I can't wait to scratch build that building. That's going to be fun.
Are most of your structures going to be scratch built, or?
The key structures are going to be scratch built, but all the background stuff, I'm going to go ahead and just use kits to fill in. So then we're jumping. This is Freehold, and the runaround at Freehold, and then this is my rendition of Freehold. I had to do a little tweaking, with track, but got the team track and the lumber yard, and then this little back here, that's Prestone Antifreeze down in Howell. And then this little switch that you see right here, that is the diversion of the Southern Secondary. So this is one of my key views here. Is looking from the Route 9 overpass down in the Freehold. So then this is the Battle of Monmouth State Park. This is where a Revolutionary War battle took place. And I'm putting that right on the end of this curve here. So this is the end of the peninsula.
Very nice, Joe. Very nice.
Yeah, this is fantastic, Joe.
This is the area that's not done. So this is what we're trying to connect up to right now. And this is going to be all Brown's Yard over here. That's going to be Jamesburg, and then this will be Englishtown. And
when this gets all done, put me and Barry on your list of operators.
Oh, outstanding!
We should actually go down there some Saturday, Bill, and do a live feed from down there.
Yeah, I'd love to have it. So this is Englishtown. The reason I'm showing this now is because a lot of people were asking, time frame wise. I'm looking at this summer having the main line up and starting op sessions with guest operators, and then the one thing I'm not doing is I'm not starting any scenery at least for 4 or 5 months. Get a good couple operating sessions just to make sure we don't have to move track and rip out stuff and then have to tear out scenery.
Yes,
very good point.
Yeah.
Smart idea is right.
Yeah, so this is Jamesburg. This is the water feature. This I want a nice water feature, so I'll have that little spillway in there.
Oh, very nice.
And these are some great photos I found. If you see the old car there, this is 1994 up in Brown's Yard. We did a little tour. So this is what Brown's Yard's going to look like. I'm going to put the wires up, so you'll have trains running under the wires. And that's looking back through the yard. You could see that Brown's Yard really wasn't that big. It was like an 8-track yard, but they did a lot of business out of there. It was real busy. So, and then there you go. Some night. We're going to do some night running.
Nice.
Yeah, that's going to be great, man.
So thank you, Joe. Thank you, Bob, for that. That
Absolutely.
was pretty interesting. Very, very enlightening.
Yeah.
So how many topped out there?
Let's go back and peek in there one more time. Okay, giveaway summary. Okay, we have a total of 34 entries. We got a couple of duplicates, which I will clear out.
So let's go and pick the winners.
Alrighty. Okay, pick winners. So, boom, drum roll, please. Alrighty, it's so easy. Just one button push and it's done, man. Alright, so let's see what we have here. Giveaway 1. Our 4-pack of Long Shadow Model Trees Killer N-Scale, the Oak and Pine. We have Scott Downey. This shows an
Ah,
HO
man, I
skin.
lost again.
And then for giveaway number 2, we have Don Dunn wins the Dave's decals.
Don who?
Don Dunn, Dunn.
Okay.
And then for the giveaway 3, which is a Weathering Solutions decal, says Robert Outlaw. Giveaway 4 is the HO Punch Bridge, and that is Bob Schlemon, Schlemon. And then the 3-month subscription to Railroad Model Craftsman goes to William Van Linton. So I want to congratulate, yes, Mr. Bill.
Very good. Very
Nice. Congratulations, guys.
Yes, congratulations to all of our winners tonight.
Yes, thank you for watching the show. I want to take this, Bob, Joe, thank you so much for being part of this show.
No, thank you for having me. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, no problem. And thank you so much. And you guys out there in the community, check out the Bob's Man Cave YouTube channel. And
Bob's N-Scale Mancave.
N-Scale, sorry. I you know us HO guys, we're so biased. And Central Jersey Conrail in N-Scale. That's Joe Desmond's channel. Check out his. You'll love Joe Desmond's enthusiasm and his just get to attitude. He's a big fan of who's that gentleman we were talking about the other day?
Oh, Rob Bennett.
Rob Bennett.
Yeah, I like his channel.
Yeah, he does the housings. He doesn't tell you how to do it. He just says, "This is how I do it."
That's how I do it. That's great.
And Joe's the same way. So that's the curved trestle bridge right there that Bob had laboriously worked on. That's a beautiful bridge.
Wow, that is nice. Good job, Bob. I like that.
It's all handmade.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful.
Nice job in the water too, Bob.
Yeah.
First time ever making anything like this.
First time?
You did a great job, man. You really
could have fooled me.
Yeah.
You could have fooled me. Great stuff. Great work. Really good stuff. And again, thank you for you guys joining in and for being part of the show, the community, because without you, we'd just be talking to thin air. So we're grateful that you're part of the show, and please keep your comments coming in as to what you'd like to see in the future. Hopefully, I think, let me see if I have it. I want to keep this brief and brilliant for us going out. I usually do. See, this is when you don't come prepared. See, this is what happens when you don't come. Oh, yeah. In May, yes, I think you guys are going to like this. May show, we're going to have Steve Montgomery on, and he's going to be showing his time saver switching.
Ooh.
So we're going to have him. Yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting. Little puzzle pieces we're going to have. So that's for the May show. Again, thank you for April 18th, this Tuesday. Please tune in. Special guest appearance, 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Please check out the other Hangouts, the YouTube Model Builders Hangouts on Tuesdays, Wednesdays with the Adreno Show, and Thursdays with the General Hangout. And please subscribe to the e-magazine if you haven't already. It's really, you won't be disappointed in it. It's really good stuff.
Yeah, so, don't forget, Bill, coming up April 25th, we're going to be starting a new series of buildings on the Fine Scale Build show, too.
All right.
Myself, Andy, and Miles.
Right. We will. April 25th with Miles and Andy, correct?
Yes. Yeah, me, Miles, and Andy will be starting up a new series of buildings. We're going to do 3 different buildings this time in different scales. So I'll be doing an S-scale building. I think Miles is going to do O, and Andy's going to do HO, I believe.
There you go.
I picked up a building from Deer River Laser, which is the Turner Center Creamery from the Wiscasset, Waterville, and Farmington Main 2-foot railroad to go on my future layout. So
there you go.
Nice.
Well, again, thank you, gentlemen, and thank you to Barry, my director extraordinaire, once again.
Absolutely, my friend.
Always pushing the right buttons and always pushing my buttons in the right direction. Thank you very much. And you guys take care. God bless. Hey, and we'll see you guys on the radio, okay?
Absolutely, everybody. Yes.
Happy Resurrection Sunday to
Absolutely,
everybody.
everybody. Everybody, take
All right.
care. Good night.